Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be rich and famous. Now that I have success, of course I have haters. They call me obnoxious, a narcissist, that I'm rude, I'm a scam, I'm a fraud. But they don't know me or why I do what I do. Am I confident? Fuck yes. I'm the best in the world at what I do. But while I was betting and breaking records, I could never predict what was about to happen to me next. Out of anything in my life, if I died, I had to do my own eulogy and talk about the most memorable part of my life was the Royals.
Now, speaking of money, here's a guy that does it for a living. Not just because he likes someone or a hunch, he's serious. Vegas Dave Oancea came to fame and fortune throwing down $100,000 future bets on the Kansas City Royals to win the World Series. That brought him $2.5 million.
I can predict the future. I'm a gift.
Vegas Dave is one of the most successful sports bettors in Vegas, and now he's the winner of a historic $2.5 million payout. That's the largest future bet in the history of sports betting.
I don't know how he does it. I think God shoved a leprechaun up his ass.
Kansas City Royals 2015, I bet a little over $100,000 for them, paid $2.5 million. After the Royals, I bet Holly Holm to upset Ronda Rousey, $20,000 to win $220,000. And a few months after that, I went against Holly Holm, and I bet Miesha Tate to beat Holly Holm to cash out $300,000. I had the Broncos to win the Super Bowl. A little over $100,000, paid $2.3 million. I broke every single record. Biggest payout in baseball, biggest payout in football, biggest payout in UFC. I think my parents would say I always wanted to be the best. And my parents could understand because they're very frugal, you know, middle class. David, be humble. Be appreciative if you have a roof over your head, 2 loving parents, and food on your table. Well, to me, in my fucked up head, that's not good enough.
Dave has a fantasy lifestyle. He just has a zest for life. Anything and everything he does, he's gonna be on the top tier. That's just his mindset.
First you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the women.
It's very clear that Dave lives a rock star life without the Bears. People ask all the time, just, is it as crazy as it looks? And I mean, let's just cut to the chase. It's more crazy.
Jay-Z said it best. You know, fame and all that is the biggest drug in the world. And once that adrenaline starts pumping, Yeah, you can forget it.
I was at Hooters lunchtime just having chicken wings with this girl. I'm like, man, we're meant to be. Let's talk about taxes and shit, right? And then Dave calls me up like, hey, I'm trying to buy this new Rolls. I need my financial statement, everything done like next 15 minutes. I'm like, shit, I'm at Hooters, bro. I'm like, I get back to my office, did all that stuff, faxed everything to, dealership so they can look at his financial. What's like 10 minutes later, Dave goes, oh, fuck it, I'm just gonna pay cash for it. I was like, fuck you.
I first met him, I thought he was like a total douche, to be honest with you, He has a really strong personality, this guy that just walks around, that walks around like he owns the place.
Call me crazy. See you in 10 years at the finish line, partner. When I'm a fucking billionaire.
When I met him, he wasn't Vegas Dave yet, really. He was certainly a gambler, very obnoxious, confident, spending money. I mean, he was flashy.
You had a guy who would bring girls to the table, and he was just very like, you're fat, you're okay, and you're fat. And you gotta go, and you two can come in. I thought drinks were gonna come flying, and fists and boyfriends from other places would come, and the saddest / remarkable result would be that 2 girls would leave their other 2 friends, and I'm like, oh my God. He's like, isn't that cool? And I'm like, yeah.
Dave is definitely an animal, party animal. He's a professional partier. Dave used to throw parties after nightclubs, like our own after-hour parties. And Dave somehow had the idea of buying a fucking baby giraffe. And the draft got there. We were in the kitchen, and we had these girls, I don't know, they were like day club girls, new waitresses, and they were in the kitchen making something, and this thing walks by the window. And they're like, I swear I saw a giraffe. And we were like, you did, you seen a giraffe. And they're like, what?
Kind of like the movie Hangover 3, where Alan's driving his Mercedes-Benz and the giraffe's in the back.
I think Dave set the tone for that. This is definitely before The Hangover.
When we first saw that trailer, Dave was like, dude, that's me right there.
It must have been like a week or two the giraffe lasted, and Dave was like, we can't keep it. He needs to be taken care of. And I don't know where the draft ended.
Before I made it big in betting, I went through a lot of ups and downs, so I decided I had to get a job. I remember looking at the time at the classified ads, and it said, make 6 figures a year. And I always hear rappers talk about like Jay-Z 6 figures, that must be a lot of money. So I was like, I wanna make 6 figures, Called this place up, they're like, it's a mortgage company. So I go in. In the first week, I closed like 8 loans, and people were like, what the fuck? It's like the Wolf of Wall Street, where people put their phones down and they start listening.
Something just came across my desk, John. It is perhaps the best thing I've seen in the last 6 months. If you have 60 seconds, I'd like to share the idea with you. Got a minute?
He came in, he took his first call, and the whole room got quiet. And everyone just kind of was listening to him because he's a voracious salesperson. Like, it just, the flow, uninterrupted.
Because I could sell. Just give me the fucking phone, I'll close the deal.
I was like, hey, can we maybe write this down?
I'll be your top salesperson. The guy obviously didn't believe me.
We were trying to figure out compensation. He's like, listen, my goal is I want to make 100 grand in 1 month. I haven't done that yet, and I want to do that. And sure enough, I think 2 months later, he nailed it. And it was that one check where I remember stroking for 100 grand. I'm like, I can't believe this. Like,
while we're waiting for leads to come in or the phone to ring, I'd be watching the games. And that's why I started sports betting out there, winning, losing, winning, losing, winning, losing.
I remember, because I was like, uh-oh. He's like, hey, I got to go place some bets. And I'm thinking, oh no, is this guy, is work gonna, you know what I mean? Like, we have a good thing going here. Why are you gambling, man?
Baseball was my best sport. Back then, all the aces were pitching. Roy Halladay, Andy Pettit. The best pitchers were pitching on the same fucking day. All 6 teams were like first or second place teams going against last place teams. And then I parlayed them on the run line, which was riskier, meaning that all 6 teams not only had to win, they had to win by more than 1 run. So I had them all to win for like 30K, that paid like 200,000, and I did it for less, for like 10K, to win by more than 1 run. All of them had to do it, and that paid like another 300-400. So all of them came in like, holy shit, $600,000.
Sure enough, guy walks in with duffel bags with hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm like, what the hell? And then you kind of like, wow, this guy's real. Like, you're like, holy crap. That's And he just had this grin on his face like, told you. And he went and immediately bought himself a Ferrari. And you're just like, oh, this guy. He show up to my office in a Ferrari. I'm kind of like, uh-oh, why is this guy working here? You know.
You can make more money gambling in one day than you can make it all month, 3 months. It all depends like what you have and do you have balls to, lay it on the line. And that's how Dave, made all his money because he had balls.
I had $8,000 left in my pocket. It was Christmas Day. No one was at the sports book, really. Of course, I found a way to get to the sports book, and I was like, man, I gotta get a big one. I never bet at futures before. When you bet futures, you put money down, and you have to wait to see if it hits. And gamblers don't like to wait. Gamblers are impatient. They bet, they wanna get paid that day. But it was the Ravens, 25-1. I was like, 8,000 wouldn't be 200,000. That's a nice big number. So I put the whole thing on it. And then when they played the 49ers, and they beat them, it paid 208,000, which was my biggest payout ever in sports on a day. One of my biggest wins was the Super Bowl ticket. Last year, I bet $8,000 on the Ravens win the Super Bowl to win a couple $100,000.
Who wins the World Series this year? Tell us, free advice.
I really believe Boston will. And then the next year, I hit the Red Sox, 30,000, win 340,000. Then I realized the money's in the futures. Then I hit the Royals. That's when it put me on the map. That's when I got famous.
A local pro sports bettor is waking up $2.5 million richer this morning.
And I was sleeping at night. I was like, you know what? Forget it, I'm all in. So I went to the bank, got more money. So within 3 days, I went to the Rio, Caesars, Mirage, downtown. Then I hit the Broncos.
The king of sports bets also cashed in on the Broncos winning the Super Bowl to the tune of $2.3 million.
No one bet futures in sports until I came along.
Can I bet on you? Yeah, how does this work?
Pay me.
Of course.
People are not brave enough to put $200,000 down on the season before it even starts. And that's where he's very special in doing. Future bets are insane.
I beat the books in futures, and that's how I made my millions.
Between the Royals World Series title, the Broncos Super Bowl victory, and Holly Holm's upset of Ronda Rousey, Vegas Dave says he's taken home $5 million of winnings in the last 90 days or so, but he says he has no plans to retire.
He shook the industry for a couple of years with huge wins, and he wasn't under the radar about it.
I smashed the sports books for $5 million. I went to collect my money with a big smile. I go to the Palms, they pay me. The Tuscany at William Hill, they have a press release. Say, can you show up at 4 p.m.? We owe you $965,000. We're gonna put it on the news. It's on the news. Check for $965,000. A bottle of champagne. Interview, news is there. They paid me on the Royals. They paid me on Holly Holm. They paid me on Misha Tate.
Misha Tate, that was the biggest wager ever in MMA history. $77,000 to cash out $300.
The Westgate has since changed their policy on accepting extreme odds and repeat bets.
The Westgate, which is supposedly the biggest sportsbook in Las Vegas, no longer will take my bets.
When you're losing, they love you, okay? But when you're winning and they know that they're not getting their money back, they gotta cut their losses.
You don't think there's any chance they'll unban me?
Most likely not. You're too good.
What's that?
Too good.
You heard the guy at the casino say, I'm too good. He said they'll never unban you because you're too fucking good, Dave.
I'd already known that they were trying to push him out of the casinos. I already knew that they were doing everything they could to ban him or limit the bets that he could place. They knew he was a threat. They do not like to lose.
A prominent sports bettor, David Oancea, known to most as Vegas Dave, was arraigned in federal court and pleaded not guilty
numbers to make 9 transactions, totaling roughly up to $3.5 million at Wynn Las Vegas and Westgate
casinos. The case is being investigated by the Las Vegas Financial Crimes Task Force, consisting of
casinos had to file false currency transaction reports. The indictment also seeks an order to force Oancea to forfeit about $881,600.
Dave is being accused of lying to casinos to hide winnings from the federal government. According to paperwork obtained by 13 Action News, David Nakama Oancea is accused of placing sports bets or collecting winnings and providing social security numbers that...
If Dave was broke and had no money, there'd been no indictments, would there? But when you start making a lot of money, the government wants their money and they want to make sure that you're doing everything right.
It was very intense at the beginning, and the government was insistent on felonies, and they were insistent on felonies that would have carried prison time, and they were very vigorous about it.
19 motherfucking felonies, up to 40 years in prison, just like boom. And it changed my perspective on life just like that. Biggest thing that would crush me, if I went to jail, my parents would fucking be devastated. Devastated, you know, they gave me everything. You know, you just never think this is ever gonna happen to you. You never in a million years as a child dream of that stuff. You never think you're gonna get indicted. You never think you're gonna face prison time. At a very early age, I was very competitive. You know, in sports, everything in life, I wanted to be the best.
David the champ.
My parents, you know, they lived for me. My dad came from Romania. My mother is Japanese, and she was born in Hawaii. And I grew up in Michigan. I was her pride and joy.
David, he's always number one.
I wanted to try soccer. They gave me soccer practice. I want to try hockey. Any sport, they let me try.
We kept him busy. Busy.
So every year for Christmas, we'd go to Hawaii for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, which is where my mom was from. After dinner, we'd play cards, poker, for like $10. You know, cash and pennies and $10. I remember winning and winning and winning. It was at the point where I didn't care about getting Christmas gifts. I couldn't wait for the poker game. I was hooked. One of my godmothers told my parents, you better watch out. This kid's gonna turn into a gambler.
And he is wanted. He was getting in trouble.
The big thing, which I think really was my first step to entrepreneurism, was buying and selling baseball cards. You know, at 12 years old, I was going to baseball card shows. And I remember I had the vision of saying, I'm gonna buy this card for X amount, and he's gonna be a good rookie. It was only 50 cents, 60 cents, and then flip it 3 months later for $5, $10.
He used to leave me on the table, and he goes to the next table, and he comes back and he buys cards. I said, what do you buy this for? He said, trust me.
My dad will tell you, I'm like, hey, Dad, give me $300 real quick. I need to buy these cards. Don't worry, Dad, I'll sell it for more. So I go buy all the cards for $300, and then I would flip it for $500 an hour later. And he watched me make $200 like that as a 12, 13-year-old. And then I got to the level where I was a dealer, where I was behind the tables, selling cards, buying and flipping, and I was making $1,000 a week. At 14, 15, I rented a Holiday Inn, and I sold tables to other dealers for $35 each.
I don't know if you know about hockey. There was a rookie from Russia, Slava Kaslov, and David paid him $1,000 to sign autographs.
And I charged like 50 bucks an autograph. I think I made like $800 that day as a 14-year-old. My parents shit their pants because he's making money too easily. My dad did a lot for me, you know, so, you know, I was into basketball, so every time a team played the Pistons, Detroit Pistons, they'd always stay at this certain hotel. So we found out what hotel was, got called him, hey, is Byron Scott there? Scottie Pippen there? But then, you know, people would just use their real names. Yes, he is. So I hung up, okay, I know what hotel they're staying at, Dad. Drive an hour, and I just wait in the lobby, and will you sign this basketball? Will you sign this cards? And I was the only person, and my dad would take pictures of me with, you know, Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley, Larry Bird, sign these cards. And these players that I was keeping for my collections, but I would just go sell them on the market for 10 times the price because no one else could get real autographs, and I had pictures with it.
Put your hands up.
In high school, you don't want to be a baseball card dealer. You want to chase girls and be cool. So I wanted to buy the dopest car. I bought a Ford Mustang, which was awesome, but it wasn't good enough. 3 months later, I had to get a Mitsubishi Eclipse. Someone got a loud sound system, my shit has to be louder. I almost didn't graduate. Like, I studied very hard, but I almost didn't pass art class. I hated art. And then when I took my SATs, I needed a certain level, and this girl, she was the smartest Asian chick in her class, and I copied off her. And they couldn't understand how I got the third highest SAT score in all of high school, because my grades were great freshman and sophomore year, but junior, senior, I just cared about partying and pussy and drinking, and they didn't understand how the fuck I scored so high in all these biology and chemistry when I got like D's in chemistry. Math I was really smart, but D in chemistry, but placed in the top 1 percentile in neutrons and all these things. They couldn't get it. Somehow they found out after the fact, but I already got accepted to Michigan State at that time. Within the first week, I was the most popular kid in the dorms. I was throwing parties. I started lifting weights. I thought about taking steroids, but you didn't know where to get it from. When I met my freshman roommate, Tom, he lifted weights too. And he told me he was taking steroids. I was like, really? And I was, can you get me some? I gained 40 pounds of muscle in the first 8 weeks of college. I came back home, my parents shit their pants. So like, everyone from high school was like, what the fuck happened to him? Like I 40 pounds. It was obvious I was on steroids. All I did was eat protein, party, and just lift weights. I'd buy kegs for like 80 bucks and charge $10 to come in and like $10 for all you can drink and $5 for a balloon. And I was making like $500 a week in college, like $2,000 a month. Never went to class, ever went to class, except to invite girls like on Friday nights. I was a true entrepreneur, you know, they couldn't teach me that shit. You know, there's teachers teaching people business and I'm running a real business, you know? On whippets and keg parties. And then I had a party in my room and for the first time I tried Everclear. Like it's like the highest proof alcohol in the world. I think I took 8 shots within an hour and they had to call 911. They suspended me for a whole year. Michigan State, like, get the fuck out of here. You're not going to class, you're throwing parties in the room, you're almost dying. They said no more, and they sent me home, and my parents were pissed. They wouldn't speak to me. Their American dream was for me to get a college education, and I didn't want that. I told myself, you know, if it snows before October 1st or in Michigan, I'm gonna leave. And it snowed like the next day. And I was like, I'm going to fucking Hawaii, and that was it. My mom was worried because there was a lot of drugs in Hawaii, a big ice epidemic. You know, the shit you don't see. And for vacations and tourism, they only show Waikiki, Maui, all the beautiful places, but they don't show Waianae and all the different places in Hawaii where there's bad shit going on. She was worried that I'd get in the wrong crowd out there, which I did. I was able to find the wrong people like I always did. My biggest fear is that I would not be able to find steroids anymore. I was into fitness. My goal was to be a bodybuilder. I was reading bodybuilding magazines. All I cared about was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I did a lot of crazy things growing up. One time, I even went to Mexico to get steroids because they were so cheap there. It was very easy to get it across the border and to mail it. We're gonna go to San Diego. We're gonna rent this Buick Skylark because on this Buick Skylark, you can take the speakers off in the back and put all the bottles in there. Stack hundreds of bottles and screw the speaker back on. So I remember crossing the border. We go to Revolution Street Pharmacy. They take us to the back, and it looked like a candy store. Here's your order, 100 bottles of Test, 100 bottles of Adderall, 100 bottles of D-Ball, 100 bottles of Winstrol. I'm like, what the fuck? Garbage bags. We had to wear like Santa Claus. Like, how the fuck are we gonna get this shit back? What we figured out is that, you know, they'd always have stray dogs for sale in Tijuana. So we'd find a stray dog and give it food and have it shit in the back seat of the car and then stuff the steroids in the consoles. So when we went across the border and the dogs went to go smell, the dogs want to smell their shit. So it'll just go through. So that's how we got through, because we'd make the dog shit in the back of the car. We'd go across the street to the border. There was a UPS store. We'd box all the steroids up, because in Hawaii it took 2 days to get over. Send it over and it arrived at our house, because you can't smell steroids. You know, it wasn't cocaine, it wasn't ecstasy, it wasn't crystal meth, it was steroids, it was oil. So it would never get stopped in the mail. I was taking insulin, thyroid medication, Cytomel, because it burned fat, clenbuterol, Anadrol, more than the bodybuilders that are pro right now. Yet I'm like 5'4". And then I took so much shit that I got an abscess. I started getting hard right here. And I started getting fevers all the time, got an infection. And they went and looked at it and they had to drain it. Took a big chunk out of my ass, but it was bigger before. And it was so deep and big that you could put a Coke can flush, a Coca-Cola can flush. If it would have went any deeper, I would have lost my leg. That was how close it was. So they had to get a doctor to put gauze. It was so much pain to pat it, gauze and pull it out every day. And the pulling of the skin, oh, it was so painful. My mom had to fly in from Michigan to take care of me. And they said you can never take steroids again. But in my head, I was withering, because all I could think about was like, every day I'm getting skinnier, muscle dysmorphia, I'm losing weight, oh my God, I'm getting skinny. And as soon as my mom left and I was healed, shot in the other fucking ass. Started taking shit again. But, well, you got 2 legs, so might as well use the other ass cheek,
Real world, Hawaii.
When the real world came to Hawaii,
I see Ruthie drink a Long Island iced tea. I see Ruthie drink a rum and Coke. I see Ruthie doing shots at the bar of tequila with some sort of a sleazy guy.
Oh, this girl Ruthie, she meets a sleazeball guy that gets her fucked up, and it's a video of me giving her a drink, and she passes out. I got super famous from that, in Hawaii, because I was the guy that got her fucked up. And the real world was really popular back then.
Hawaii News Now at 10.
Honolulu police officers and federal agents heavily armed and on the hunt for 3 dozen suspected of drug.
One time, they busted some of my friends for drugs. And one of my friends said, hey, dude, they brought me in for questioning. My gut's always right. Someone's like, just haul your shit up and get the fuck out. Shipped the car and just went. Within 3 days, I had booked a flight and I was in Vegas. At that time, I learned about sports betting, and Vegas was partying, and I figured I could just go there, be close to the casinos. Where else would I want to go? After living in paradise from Hawaii, Vegas is the next best thing. I told my parents, I'm gonna go to school. They were so happy. I knew it was a soft spot in their heart. So within 3 days, I was out.
I want him to have an education,
I remember going to school and applying for student loans because my parents had cut me off at that time, for a little bit. I ended up getting a $10,000 student loan, and instead of buying books and material for classes, so for some reason I went to the Palms because the Palms was a hit place. That's where all the madness was happening because the real world was very popular and they were filming at the Palms in Las Vegas. I went down to the Palms and I put the whole $10,000 tuition that I borrowed on the student loan on red and roulette. And they had to get approval. And I remember them going like this, money plays. And as soon as the ball started going in a circle, I started getting nervous. My heart started palpitating. I was very calm and, wasn't really paying attention until that ball spun and they said no more action, no more plays. And I remember getting super, super nervous and watching the ball just jump around, and landed on red. And when it hit red, it was just a fucking adrenaline rush. That $10,000 in like a spin in the wheel was a different rush. And I was hooked to gambling. And I dropped out of school I don't think I ever went to class.
So I found out I was very mad, very, very upset.
Yes, very worrisome. And the thing is but there are a lot of tense moments, especially with father and son. They butt heads so many times, because neither one of them would give in, and my husband is very strong-headed.
Tell me something about you.
I'm living.
We had lots of arguments. Oh my goodness. What do you know? You're a foreigner. You don't know anything.
I felt pretty bad for him, because his upbringing was so different.
Yeah, my dad, when he came to this country, he couldn't speak any English. He escaped from Romania. He was an orphan. He was left at someone's doorstep.
All I knew, I don't have mother. I don't have nobody.
He dreamt for a son to carry the last name Oancea, because this is a very unusual last name, and to have a son that would never have to suffer and worry about money ever again, because he was poor as shit.
Yes, it was an orphanage from 1917 when the World War I finished. And the fathers died in the war. They brought some children here. I stayed from the time I remember myself until 14 years old. I will say 120 children. And we were friends. We were playing together, suffered together. After the war, nobody in all country had anything. People have to get up in the morning, go to wait in line to get milk, to get meat.
Because at that time, it was a communist. Ceausescu was the communist leader.
I still remember, sometimes we have nothing to eat. And we're going all over, pick up flowers, wherever we could to eat. I was trying to survive day to day, looking for a way to get better. I had a dream to be free. I didn't know where I'm gonna land, but I want to just go to free country. And I waited for 8 years. So finally, after 8 years, I got a visa to go for 1 day to Vienna, Austria. So I took a chance and I took off, that's all. When I got there, I went to police and I told him I'm from Romania, I don't want to go back to Romania. The Romanian communists said, okay, no problem. So they told us, you're free to apply for visa to any country in the world you want to go. Then I went to American Embassy. I asked for political asylum. Once I got the visa, and I came. So I was lucky, and from there, I was free like a bird.
And then he decided to come to the United States, and if he would have got caught, he would have just been neck cut off. He jumped on a train, never came back, showed up in Michigan, could say 2 words, Coca-Cola and thank you. He worked 40 years at Ford Motor Company, never missed a day at work.
For me, it was enough to have a good job, to live a decent life, and no problem.
And then he would come home and coach my soccer practice every day, make every game, take me an hour away to baseball card shows, take me an hour and a half away to get autographs, took me everywhere.
My husband, he had a real difficult life in Romania. So he wanted the very best for David, no matter, what trouble that he got into.
Every weekend, it was like Christmas. I could not wait to go to the casino. Oh my God, the NFL Sunday, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Couldn't sleep, so excited. Even though I just lost my whole paycheck the week before, out of mind, out of sight. This week I got it.
All the time, up and down, up and down. People go up and down and go up. It was up and down, and it was going down.
I used to go by myself and just bet $100,000, take $100,000 and bet it every weekend and lose it all. And then I'd have big wins where I'd win $600,000, $700,000, go spend 20 grand in the club, get fucked up, and just party. And back then I just gambled on weekends. Money in, money out. Money in, money out. All Saturday and Sunday was at the sports book from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. just sitting there watching people smoke, just sitting watching every game. Wasting my whole weekends eating shitty food with married men complaining about their wives, them betting $20 tickets and I'm betting like $50,000 games, win and then lose it all, win and lose it all. It was just a vicious cycle.
I had no idea the amount he gambled and how often he gambled.
Every time we tried to discuss issues, he would avoid it.
There was a guy that knew I was betting big at the time, and he decided to offer me a line of credit for $200,000. And I lost $200,000 that week. The money was there the day after. And they're like, wow, this dude just lost 200. Usually we have to chase people or they have to make excuses for a payment plan. $800,000 limit. I won some, lost some, but within 3 weeks, I was down $864,000, $868,000 before you knew it, and I was like, fuck. That's when I went to my mom and dad, and And I remember that was probably the most ashamed I've ever been in my life.
Everything you made, he gambled.
Yeah, he was gambling.
And then ask us for more money.
And then they gave me their whole retirement. I watched them call, you know, the IRA, the Roth IRA. I think they had like 880,000. They gave me 864,000. They had 15,000 or 16,000 left in their savings, and they gave it to me to pay off my debt. Yeah, I felt guilty, and then you say you'll stop doing it, but the disease, you do it again. It's an addiction. You know, they bailed me out, I'll never do it again, and then Monday I won't play, Tuesday I won't play, then fuck it, Wednesday I'm playing. You know, that's just how it was. Out of control and reckless. And I remember when I was struggling, I was broke, I'd be upset. Sometimes tears from my eyes, be like, how could you be so stupid? I had 600,000, 500,000, 2 or 3 times. You had so much money. When the mortgage industry was great before it crashed, you were making 60 to 100 grand a month. If I would have saved all my money, I could be retired.
Because I couldn't side with David, or I couldn't side with my husband, so I put myself in the middle.
They were very hurt, pushed me every day. We yell, fights where I was crying, they were upset. Like, it wasn't easy, man.
After several months, when things were not getting any better, that's when we suggested that he attend one of those classes, the Gamblers Anonymous.
They said, you gotta go to Gamblers Anonymous and sell your car. I could see the pain in my parents, but I still wanted to keep the Ferrari. I was like, I'll go to Gamblers Anonymous, but I'm not gonna get rid of the car. And I was able to convince them to let me keep the car. And it was in the hood, man. Like, I'd never been in that side of Vegas before. And I showed the Gamblers Anonymous in a fucking Ferrari. Like, we're gonna go around and you're gonna say your name, and I'm like, fuck this shit. You have to say, hi, my name is Dave. I'm a compulsive gambler. I'm like, fuck. You know, they'd be like, hi, my name is Martha. I'm a compulsive gambler. I lost $180 on slots. I'm like, $180? My name is Scott. You know, I lost $2,000. I'm like, they come to me, I'm like, hi, I'm Dave, a compulsive gambler. I lost like $880,000. They're like, what? The whole meeting was targeted on me. People were like, what?
When that dude came into the class, I was like, who is this guy? I'm like, this dude is different. You know what I mean? And then, first couple of weeks, he was bullshitting. You know what I mean? He didn't really want to open up. You know, he was like, I don't even really need to be here. But then he started getting real.
People always say they hit rock bottom, but what people have to understand is that when you hit rock bottom, the bottom has another fucking bottom. And from Gamblers Anonymous, when I had to say, my name is Dave, I lost close to $1 million, and I guess I'm a compulsive gambler, that was very embarrassing for me, and that was like rock bottom to my soul. That was a gut check.
The denial aspect in gambling is real strong because a thought pops in the mind, and you're off to the races. Throwing some dice, turning over cards, pulling the machine, picking some numbers, you know what I mean? Whatever it takes. They said, change your thinking, change your life.
I'd lose everything because I'd chase my losses. I had a gift, I just couldn't manage my money, and people don't understand it's 50% skill and a little bit of luck, but 50% money management and discipline, and this 50% is why the casinos are rich, because people can't manage their fucking money. Graduation was miserable, you know, like you had to write a fucking poem of how you're gonna let the gambling demons go and then tie it to like a pink balloon. Someone graduated today, Dave, and all the old people are like, yay! Seriously, like this is embarrassing. Grown people clapping me, I felt like I was a child, you know? And I was like, I have to go to the bathroom, and I just left. I remember driving the Ferrari so fucking home. I said, my parents are gonna kill me, but I was like, I'm gonna fucking do this. I don't give a fuck. I know I'm good at this. I know I have a gift. I know. I don't care if my parents are gonna talk to me. I know I promised them and cried to them. I said I gave them my word that I'd never gamble again, but I'm gonna do it because I know that I can, if I manage my money and I stick to these rules, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it.
He was trying to turn around. I felt in my heart somehow he's trying hard and he's gonna find a way to change, but I didn't know how.
We gave him a lot too. You know, when he was have a financial problem, we always came up to resolve his problem. You know, and maybe there was a mistake. I'm not too sure, you know. We only had the one child. We have to do the best for him, regardless what situation he's in.
My parents thought after Gamblers Anonymous I would never gamble again, but then the Royals opportunity fell in my lap. The reason I picked the Royals is that the year before, they made it to the World Series. They had the tying run on third base.
Here's the 0-1. That's in the air to left center. That ball is down. And it gets past to the wall. Run at third, 2 out, 9th inning.
But Perez popped out and Gordon stayed at the third, and people don't realize they were just there the year before. They have experience.
Send the ball in foul territory. Giants win.
Everyone thought it was a fluke. But the next year, the Royals had 30-1 odds, which was like the highest odds to, you know, the top teams are 3-1, 4-1, like 1,000 will pay you 3,000. With the Royals, 1,000 would pay you 30. You know, so futures is predicting who's gonna win it all, but anybody can take the Patriots and Alabama and all the top teams. I take all the long shots.
$100,000 down, and who does that preseason, right?
I predicted them in week 1. They started the season in first place, going a perfect 6-0. I put 10,000 at 30-1 odds, and the casino would drop it to 27-1, 25-1. I bet it you know, no casino would take 100,000 and pay $3 million for liability. So I went to every casino for a day and a half. Started off with 1 million. I was like, I'm gonna bet more, I'm greedy, 1.5. Oh, let me do 2. And I got it to 2.5. During that time, you know, my mom felt a lump.
There was some discomfort in my health in the year 2015. I didn't think much of it, but then one day I felt a little tenderness in the stomach area. So I went to see my doctor, and immediately we took a scan.
We waited 2 hours, they told her, oh, you have cancer. We're like, what? Like, it was just out of the blue.
And she said that it was definitely my pancreas.
So they sent us to the specialist, and he came out, and he was like, yeah, you have pancreatic cancer, stage 4. I didn't know what that meant. What does that mean? And he's like, she has less than 2 months to live. I'm like, what?
Knowing just probably 10% or 15% survive pancreatic cancer, it was very, very low point in our life.
They were like, yeah, your mom's 80 years old. Pancreatic cancer is the most aggressive form of cancer in the world. She has stage 4. She'll be lucky to live more than 2 months.
So we shed a lot of tears, the 3 of us, until there was no tears left. You know, especially David. He said, Mom, he said, I don't want you to die.
The only thing that scares me is losing my mother and father. That's my biggest fear in life. That's like the most devastating thing I can think of. You know, when you grow up, you always think your parents are immortal. My mom and dad is never gonna die. Dear Mama and Daddy, I love you very much. David. Probably like 5 years old. That's crazy. There's no other mom quite like you. Oh man, this is emotional. Dear Mommy, happy Mother's Day. I love you very much, and thank you for all the nice things you've done for me. There's not that much not nice moms as you. Yeah, my mom was really nice. I hope you like the card that I picked. Love, David Nakaba Watcher. Happy Mother's Day. Yeah, it's crazy. I've always loved my mom and dad.
You know, I lost my mom to pancreatic cancer, and so when his mom got sick, I was heartbroken because I knew exactly what he was going through.
What hurt me the most was she came to me with a pouch with the jewelry. And he said, I want this to go to this. She was already making preparation.
She took me to the couch, and we sat down. She started handing out her jewelry. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? That's the first time I see my mom tap out. And that's the first time I see my dad cry. I asked her, I said, you know, are you proud of me? You think I'll be successful in life? And this is when the Royals was going on. I was still in debt to them. She said, yes, I'm proud of you. And I know you'll be successful and you're gonna be the best in your business. And I was like, what? Because she never really paid attention. She watched sports. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, why would you say that? She goes, you're gonna be the best at what you do. I know that. And one day, be careful, David. The casinos are gonna come after you. I'm like, why? Like, what? She's like, they're gonna come after you one day. So what happened was we had to find a doctor, right?
David went through the website right away to see what he could find, the best doctor for me.
And the best doctor in the world for pancreatic cancer, they said, was Dr. Donahue at UCLA. We called UCLA and they're like, oh no, there's a 12-month wait for Dr. Donahue, the secretary. And I remember calling the fucking secretary every fucking day and I was, dude, I don't care, I'll give you a $10,000 tip. Just fucking get my mom in. And I kept calling her. The lady's like, I don't want your money. She's like, can you be here tomorrow at 4 p.m. for a walk-in appointment? And I made it happen.
I remember him taking his mom to UCLA for treatment, getting her the best treatment that money could buy.
Dr. Donahue at UCLA said that my cancer was too close to the intestine and that he couldn't operate right away.
So it'll be a two-step process. Your mom's gonna get chemo, we'll shrink it, and once it shrinks, it gets away from the vein, and it shrinks, it moves, then we'll go in and do the surgery and remove it.
I mean, the chemo was very aggressively done so that the tumor would shrink.
I know the hardest thing for him to see was his mother going through cancer. He'd tell us all, you know, pray for my mom.
I just remember my mom doing chemo at 83 years old, losing all her hair, and that shit was scary because I only had my mom and dad. What do I do without my mom? And I remember we'd watch every Royals game together, me, my mom, and dad. My mom knew all the players, my dad knew all the players. You know, we knew everything. We'd watch every game. My mom would know who the pitchers were, like, because we watched the Royals every game. They wanted to make that money. It brought us together. There was so much stress and anxiety in me because I knew it wasn't just about the money. It was about keeping my mother alive.
Davis to the bag. Magic number 0.
But I remember praying to God and saying, I don't care about the money. Let my mom live to the World Series and have the Royals win the World Series to prove to her that I'm the best in the world. Because that was the record. I said, I don't care about the money, God. Please, please, please let her live to after November so she can see the Royals win the World Series. That's all I want. And letting her pass knowing that I broke the record and she passed with her son being super successful and proud of me. The playoffs had started and the Royals were playing the Astros.
Rasmus follows up. And that one is gone.
Here's the only time I was worried. The Royals were facing elimination. They were down 6-2 on the road in the 8th inning.
Right before game night, he calls me from his hotel room. He says, I'm anxious, I have anxiety. Melissa, I can't sleep. He's on this ledge of, what do I do now?
That's the first time I looked at my dad and I said, it's over. And I go, this is bullshit because the Royals are better than the Astros. But in all sports, the better team doesn't always win.
And all I could say was, Dave, you've stuck it through this far. Are you kidding me?
At that point, I'll admit, I had given up. And I was extremely mental, like I could almost cry.
You've believed in this team this far. You could have hedged out, you could have cashed out and taken your money and ran a long time ago.
And then
the 1-1 to Kane. Swing and a base hit into left. It'll score at least one. Here's Rios to score easily.
Base hit after base hit after base hit.
Swing and a line drive, base hit right field.
And when Morales hit that ball, it went over Carlos Correa's glove, which would have been a double play. I knew shit was gonna happen. And they came back and won, and I knew it was over. It was destiny. I went to the first 3 games of the World Series, and the last ones I wanted to watch at home with my mom and dad. I gave up the World Series tickets because I wanted to watch that memory if the Royals won with my parents in the house with them. Because I thought my mom was gonna pass, and I wanted to watch that final pitch and that celebration in case she passed away, that we celebrated that accomplishment in person. When Wade Davis threw that strike and struck the guy out.
Oh my goodness. Come on, Royals. Come on, Royals.
My mom's going through chemo and she gets up and hugs my dad. They're like, oh my God, he did it, we did it. They said the Royals are the 2015 Goosebumps, World Series champion. I think that win sparked something in my mom's body, a new life, because she beat it. She had less than a 3% chance. 83-year-old with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, it's done.
Vegas Dave, as he's known, won $2.5 million in the state's largest futures winning sports bet in history. Placed a big bet at the start of the season when the odds were 30-1 and let it ride all the way to the bank.
That was the most emotional time of my life.
So what's he going to do with all of that money?
Buy them their dream home, which means a lot to me because my parents supported me. I have very, very, very great parents. I love them to death. They're my best friends. My whole 42 years, that is the most memorable part of my whole life. That is not only the biggest baseball payout record, it's the biggest payout in the history of sports betting, $2.5 billion on the Royals. A couple months later, I bet Holly Holm to upset Ronda Rousey, 11-1 underdog, $20,000 to win $220,000. That was the biggest payout in the UFC history for an underdog. No one puts $20,000 in an 11-1 underdog. And then a few months after that, I went against Holly Holm, and I bet Miesha Tate to beat Holly Holm, which was the biggest wager ever in UFC and the biggest payout in UFC history, $77,000 to cash out $300,000. Then in February of the following year, I had the Broncos. I bet them in preseason to win the Super Bowl. And I had a vision, one dream. This will be Manning's last year, and I just had a vision that he would go off in the sunset as a Super Bowl winner.
Yeah, baby, Super Bowl!
A little over $100,000, paid $2.3 million. That's the highest football payout. I won the Broncos for $2.3 million. So I wanted to go to bed that night and collect the money in the morning the next day.
It's just like the Kansas City Royals in the World Series of Vegas Dave. Today he walked into the Tuscany Casino, walked out with a check for nearly $1 million. As you can see in the video, that check was actually for $965,000.
I went to collect my tickets at the Westgate. It just was a weird feeling. And get my tickets, he had a big smile. Is this? He goes, we're not paying you? Call this guy. There's a card. It's a task force officer. I was like, I placed a bet with you. Pay me my fucking money. He's just like, I don't know. Call the guys. So then I go to the Mirage, where they owe me like $800,000. I go up there, and as soon as I got up there, the sportsbook manager said, hey, Dave, we know you were just at the Westgate. Same story here. We'd love to pay you. But call this guy, and it made me think, wow, the Westgate, the Mirage, they're competitors. How the fuck did the manager at the Mirage, who runs the MGM properties, know that I was just at the Westgate, and same story, which is weird.
You gotta remember, these sports books, they're privately owned, so they're not as big as people think they are. So if Dave crushes a sports book for $2-3 million a week, that crushed them. Like, that really hurts them.
I go to the win. They push in my ticket. Hold on, sir. They make a call. I'm like, here we fucking go again. He goes, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Playing stupid. Just call this guy. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? These casinos pay me and the others don't? So at the time, I called my attorney, Ismail Amin.
So I was actually with Dave the day he tried to go and pick up his winnings and couldn't do that, and was told that the feds basically withheld his money.
So Ismail called him and said, hey, this is Ismail Amin. I'm calling on behalf of David Oancea. I guess you want us to call you. And they're like, yes, yes, yes. We'd like to set up a meeting.
The day that the IRS asked us to show up to their office for an informal meeting pre-indictment is a day I'll never forget.
We go downtown. I didn't know it was a federal building. I've never been downtown. Federal agents came in, task force came in, gaming department came in, and criminal IRS agents came in. About 12 guys with tape recorders. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Does the government work closely with the casinos, absolutely, especially when it comes to the IRS.
All asking us various questions, and we're all kind of looking at each other like, what are these guys talking about?
Has anyone ever bet on your behalf? Have you ever given out different social security numbers? Just ask me all these questions. No.
I still don't understand the claim.
It looks like your social security numbers are off at a couple of casinos. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I filled that paperwork out like 15 years ago. So how's this an issue? What are you talking about?
The casinos are the place where people are either spending money, losing money, winning money, and the government wants their piece.
That was very intimidating, even for someone like me who's seen quite a bit. And Dave was, kind of, in shock.
And I'm like, okay, great, so when am I gonna get paid? And he looked at me and was like, do you understand what just happened there?
I said, no, it's not about the money right now, it's about your freedom.
You're gonna go to jail, like, for what? What the fuck did I do?
The feds don't lose. They don't indict you, they don't go after you because they have a high batting average.
When I heard about the indictments, I was honestly scared for Dave. I thought he was really gonna face some jail time, some serious jail time.
The first thing I told him was like, you need to call David Chesnoff.
Hired the best attorneys in the world, David Chesnoff and Richard Schoenfeld.
We've represented Bruno Mars, Suge Knight,
Tyson, Britney, Paris Hilton, and now Vegas Dave. So I had heard of him, and I knew he had won a pretty amazing future pick.
It was a serious case for a number of reasons. One, it was being investigated by federal agencies, and if you have to be in court, you don't want to be in federal court.
No federal trial is easy. 97% of federal cases end in convictions.
Two, there had been some significant monetary seizures, high-level money, and when the government does that, they mean business.
I can tell you that it's very scary when an indictment comes down because it says the United States of America versus blank. And in this case, it was the United States of America versus Dave.
I broke every single record. That's when the casinos banned me. The feds came after me, tried to take my freedom. Not 1, not 2, not 12, not 15, 19 motherfucking felonies, up to 40 years in prison. Just like, boom. My whole life changed in the snap of a finger.
Professional gambler who goes by the nickname Vegas Dave is being accused of lying to casinos to hide winnings from the federal government. According to paperwork obtained by 13 Action News, David Nakama Oancea is accused of placing sports bets or collecting winnings and providing
has been indicted by a federal grand jury for using fake social security numbers to open player accounts at casinos and sports books. Oancea is accused of using others' social security numbers to make 9 transactions, totaling roughly up to $3.5 million at Wynn Las Vegas and Westgate casinos. Oancea to forfeit about $881,600 of his fortune.
I made it clear many years ago. Make sure whatever you do, don't go to jail. Because I will not gonna come and visit you. Period. I will not come and visit you ever. You stay in jail.
Oh, I think he was targeted, because why else would they bother with him? If Dave was losing, Dave would have never been bothered. But when you're winning all that money, they want to know what's going on.
Winning. They don't like guys who win, so they keep a database, they make you use your player's card, and they say, wait a minute, why am I buying this guy a car every year? This makes no sense.
Yeah, well, I think he was a target because he's so visible and he's so demonstrative.
I know a lot of people that lost tons of money, they've never been targeted.
The allegation was that Dave had misreported his social security numbers on these relevant reports, so when they would go to the IRS, they wouldn't know who the taxpayer was.
Ultimately, when they did bring the charges by way of indictment, there were 19 felony charges. Half of them were related to the allegation of misuse of social security numbers.
I'm always looking to help the underdog, and when he explained himself to me, that's how I felt about it.
I was a professional loser for 10 years. Gambled all my hard-earned money away. When I lost for 10 years, if my social was off, it's okay.
I found it interesting that when he was losing, nothing was happening to him, but when he was winning, all of a sudden, it became a big issue.
Right away, I reached the conclusion that there was an injustice because it didn't all add up.
To me, it was overkill.
People understand I lost millions of dollars the last, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and I kept all my losing tickets.
And as you see him touting online, Vegas is built on losers, and frankly, it is.
This is just 1 year's worth of lost tickets.
They don't spend billions of dollars on hotels and casinos saying, man, I really hope we get some losers this year. You know what I mean? It's, statistically speaking, the odds are in favor of the house.
Because I used to get free hotel rooms, free comps, free drinks. The big Elvis Presley suite, I used to get that when I lost 50,000. The ones you beat them, no more, they took all my comps away, no more rooms.
All you're doing is out there risking your money, gambling. That's the part that sometimes gets lost. It wasn't like it was free money, it was his money.
I sweated the games. I had the balls to bet the long shots. I waited 8 months.
The casinos made a lot of money off of him too. And so kind of when they turned him in, it was a hard pill for him to swallow because he'd been a really good customer, and when he lost, they kept the money.
Ride and died on these picks. The mental stress and agony, and then you're gonna tell me we're not gonna pay you.
In his opinion, and mine too, you can't have it both ways.
Normally, the motive and the intent of somebody to violate or to misuse a social security number is to disguise that they have income.
The reason someone would have a fake social security number is to hide their identity. Everyone knows who the fuck I am when I walk in with $500,000. You have to get 8 approvals to count the money.
To disguise that they are making the wagers, to disguise that they are taking cash as a result of the wagers. And in this instance, Dave would post his winning tickets on the internet.
Vegas Dave, on the way to the sportsbook this morning to pick up my $100,000 in winnings. We're 2-0 now. We had the Blue Jays last night. I'm at another casino waiting for my winnings right now. I won so much money they have to go in the back to the vault to card out my winnings on me. Collected my money from the other casino. They had it all ready in vacuum sealed bags for me, just the way I like it. This is what 100K looks like.
He went on the radio, he went on TV, he was in the newspaper. There was a period of 2 years where he had back-to-back won huge future sports wagers for huge sums of money. He didn't disguise that. He promoted it. He volunteered to people. Look how much money I'm making at sports betting, I'm good at this.
And I take videos, post my winning tickets, take the $1 million I win, put it in the bank, post a video of the bank account statement. What am I hiding?
It just didn't add up.
They were following me for 3 years. They had pictures of me in the casino from 4 years ago.
The investigation of Dave had lasted several years by various agencies, and it kind of morphed. It just seemed like they got some reason that they wanted to investigate Dave, and then they just wanted to find something.
I had to go in and read Discovery, 1,000 pages. They thought I wasn't paying my taxes. So even though gaming did the shit, it was the IRS criminal department that went after me first. They all worked as a team and said, for sure he's not paying his taxes.
And I think we had to do a lot of work to make it clear to them that he pays his taxes.
Let's just get him for tax evasion. And they're like, holy shit, his taxes are clean.
You could see that they would go down, path number 1, trying to investigate Dave for alleged crime number 1. And then they would come up dry.
For sure, all this money coming in, he's money laundering. For sure, he's betting for someone else. That's messenger betting.
So then they would go, well, let's go down path number 2 and let's see if he violated these laws. And they would come up dry.
Then they realized, oops, my bad. He's actually legit.
And ultimately, they reached the conclusion that they would prosecute him for the Social Security alleged violations.
This was the most difficult test of my life. Because the feds don't fuck around. They shut your bank accounts down, they fuck with my parents' bank account, they camp outside your house, they follow you to the grocery store, they hand my mom business cards, they tell your son to watch his back.
When I found out that our bank account was closed, I was very furious, and at the same time, I was really scared.
Their bank account got closed 3 different places, started fucking with my parents, freezing my bank accounts, try to embarrass me, humiliate me.
They say you're gonna hear a lot of shit about me on the fucking news coming up. It's gonna be bad. And I was like, what happened? He was like, I'm gonna tell you up front with me because you're a close friend of mine.
I never doubted that he was innocent. Not for a second.
And he's like, I would never fucking lie to you. I'm totally innocent. And I said, then if you're innocent, then I'm here to fight with you from here on.
I said, are you okay? And he's like, not really, no. I'm, this is fucked. I don't know what to do.
I knew I was innocent. But I also was like, how corrupt is the system?
They say that you're innocent till proven guilty. Yeah, sure. You're guilty till proven innocent.
But that illustrates the inequality of the system, how the government has resources to freeze assets while they prosecute you, even though you haven't been convicted of a crime. And I think that runs afoul of the presumption of innocence.
So he would call me and say, hey, give me your gut feeling. What do you think's gonna happen with this legal case? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
I asked other people, prominent figures that I knew, what should I do with this case? You know, a lot of people that went through this situation, other lawyers that are colleagues of mine or friends of mine.
I hope you can strike a deal, because you don't want to go to trial.
They all said settle, take a plea. You know, the feds bat 1,000 for a reason, you know? And I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. All I did was beat them, you know, this is bullshit.
The consistent thing he said is he wanted justice. He wanted, you know, the truth to come out. He did not want to look like a criminal. He did not want to look like a thief. He did not want to look like a liar.
Dave was engaged. I mean, his life was on the line.
And he's like, it's not about the money, it's about the principle. I go, your principles are gonna wind you up living in a 10 by 10 camp.
I started with 40 years in prison, and they offered me a plea bargain. 6 months later, 19 years. I'm like, fuck you, 19 years, what kind of fucking plea is that?
It took a long time, and there were times when they offered resolutions that were, in the normal setting, been really good to take.
They said 15 years, I said, fuck you.
But Dave was insistent that he was not gonna be convicted of a felony.
Then they offered me 10 years in prison, I'm like, fuck you. 8 years in prison, fuck you. 3 years in prison, fuck you.
The system's not set up to fight.
2 years in prison, and I was so stressed out, I almost took the 2 years. Then I was talking to my dad one day, and he was just like, you're innocent, right? And I said, yes. I've seen you lose $200,000 to $300,000 in 3 hours of sports.
You make so many bets at the casino. What about make a bet that you solve?
And I looked at him, I was like, you're right, what am I thinking? It's on. I'm not signing this fucking plea bargain. It's on.
It was gonna be a battle. Could be won, could be lost.
But you know what? To me, it was like ding, ding, round one starting. Let's put the gloves on, let's box. And people thought I was fucking crazy.
I tell my clients that they need to stay under the radar, not respond to the press. Don't worry about what people think of you. This is a fight we're in. At the end of the day, you'll get to say what you want to say, but now's not the time.
Attorney said scale back on your social media. Get a low profile. Stay out of the limelight. They're gonna watch you. They want to get you for more shit. They want you to fuck up.
We always tell our clients at the outset that our preference would be no social media.
I took the advice of the top attorneys in the world.
The clients that really can't terminate or suspend their social media, we just insist that they don't discuss anything that's even remotely related to the case.
And I did the fucking complete opposite. I posted my indictment on social media. I said, I'm fucking innocent. And I flipped it on them.
So I definitely advised him not to rub it into their face, because that's not the, I mean, like.
What's up, everybody? I know you just saw me in the news today, nationally televised news all over the world. Indicted on 19 felonies, indicted on alleged 19 felonies, up to 40 years in prison. It's complete bullshit. The feds are trying to fuck me. They're all in corruption with the casinos. The casinos are a bunch of fucking crooks.
I don't think anyone would advise that, because if they want you, they're gonna get you.
The casinos are scared of me. I'm banned. Now they're trying to put me in prison. Now that I'm banned from Vegas from placing sports bets, the judge said I'm never allowed to place bets again. That's how scared Vegas is. What am I gonna fucking do? I'm gonna be a sports consultant. I'm gonna go all in 100% and be the #1 sports consultant in the world. I'm gonna give everyone out there, you, and you, the opportunity to beat the casinos just like I did. Mark my words, I'm innocent. I'm gonna make you fucking money. Let's fucking go. While I was sports betting, I did run a little bit of consulting on the side. You know, people would buy my picks here and there. I'd make like 50 to 100,000 a year, just side money. But then I realized if I could connect the dots and transition from a sports bettor to a sports consultant, that could be a solution.
What he did was genius by turning all that negatives and said, hey, you know what? Fuck it, I'm not gonna sit, I'm not gonna dwell, I'm not gonna cry about my life. I'm gonna figure out how to make my life better. And he started sports consulting, and which it started off like hundreds of dollars a day, $1,000, couple $1,000 a day.
This is my condo, which I turned to a sports book. So when Las Vegas banned me, and I was still able to bet for a while. I couldn't go to all the casinos anymore. I used to spend all my time in the sports book, so I built my own damn sports book. So 7 TVs, monitors, and this is where I watch my games. I have a different method of handicapping games. I'm not fancy at all. I'm fancy with my lifestyle, but with my handicapping, it's all visual, mental, gut. I watch the scores, I watch the games, and I take notes.
So a handicapper is a guy that goes ahead and runs his number, usually has power ratings on all the teams, makes adjustments for fundamental matchups and the like, and comes up and says, UCLA is playing Cincinnati. I think UCLA should be a 1.5 point underdog.
So I'm looking at the games right now. Casinos made a little mistake on this game, so I'll write down this game. This one's right. Oh, they made a mistake in the Dodgers, Washington. I'll write that game down.
So if there's enough of a difference between what my number as a handicapper is versus the number put out there by the Vegas books, then we'll make a bet. So a handicapper is the one that's kind of actually doing the work.
You ever seen the movie Moneyball? It is one of Dave's, probably Dave's favorite movie, and that kid comes up with a spreadsheet on how to put in players that become calculated to a percent on how making their team better, and it worked.
I'm projecting that we need to win at least 99 games in order to make it to the postseason. We need to score at least 814 runs in order to win those games and allow no more than 645 runs.
And Dave was very inspired by that movie, and Dave has his own system, which he does something like that too. He's a genius when it comes to sports betting.
Gamblers Anonymous gave me that discipline, because I was sitting in Gamblers Anonymous for 4 weeks, so I had a clear mind. I don't just send an email out that says, hey, bet the Giants. I teach money management. I have a unit system. I said, okay, for the Giants, you're gonna bet 3 units. For the Cardinals, you're gonna bet 1 unit. And my strong play, the Cowboys, you're gonna bet 10 units. Follow the email. A unit is X% of your bankroll, so I explain money management. So I know what caused me to lose money, so I educate people in every single email. So I'm gonna go on Instagram Live and Facebook Live right now. All right, guys, who's already made money today in the daily card? I gave a free play out yesterday at 1. The daily card has won now 12 straight days. Anyone that joined the daily card this morning for $99 has already made their money plus more.
It's like, he's getting back at the casino. Like, oh, you don't wanna let me bet? Okay, I'm gonna give my plays to everybody.
So they shut me down for gambling, but didn't realize I'd create a fucking army that would destroy him in volume.
Took a toll on his life, but this guy really, really flipped it to his advantage. Like, he made millions out of this indictment. So who else can you say did that?
They were better off just letting me gamble. Said win some, lose some, win some, lose some. But now I have 30, 40,000 people that buy my picks, and they're getting crushed.
I woke up because I saw the light under the door at 4 o'clock in the morning. I look, David was working on his computer. So first thing he said, can I have a cup of coffee? So I had to make him a coffee. And last night when I went to sleep, he was up. When I woke up, he was up again, so.
I have no children, no wife. It's just my business. And I was blessed from my dad's side to have that work ethic. In this world, you need 50% skill and talent and 50% work ethic. I don't study games the night before anymore. I wake up early in the morning study because when I studied the games the night before, my mind would be going over numbers and I couldn't sleep. So I now study games in the morning and it works tremendously well.
The biggest compliment I think Dave can receive is that he's a machine.
A lot of people want to know how I do this, can I teach them? But this is my thought process, this is what I do. It's a lot of work, a lot of grind. I need total silence when I work. I can't have music. I can't have people talk in the background. I need to be in work mode. I'm the type of person that needs complete silence when I execute, and this is what I do. I look at the lines in the morning, and then I also look at the lines an hour before I give out the games, make sure there's no last minute injuries. Basically, what I do cannot be taught. There's no class. I have a lot of gut, I have a lot of intuition, but because I watch all the games, I know why a team won or lost. So not only am I a student of the game, I understand the knowledge, I understand the work, I understand the pros and cons, the advantages and disadvantages of every matchup. I have a computer in my head. I just know based on every matchup what the line should be, and I compare it to what the line is out at the casinos around the world. And if I see a 3, 4, 5 point gap, such as today in college basketball, I'll write those 7 teams down. Sometimes it might be 2 teams, sometimes it might be 3. I have a photogenic memory of all the stats, how they play on the road, how they play at home, how do they cover the spread on the road, how they cover the spread at home. Do they play good at night? Do they play good in the morning? Do they play good in the afternoon? No one's gonna watch all the fucking games. They're gonna try it. You try to tell someone to crunch numbers at 5 in the morning, crunch numbers in the afternoon, crunch numbers an hour before game time, and then watch, and then when that's done, watch all the fucking games, and then watch all the games after that you missed on TV. Who's gonna do that shit? Who's gonna work on Christmas, New Year's Eve, your birthday? I haven't had a fucking day off in 4 years. I have no other responsibilities besides providing winners of my players.
His players mean a lot to him. Like if they lose, he feels like he loses, like he really does. Like I'll see him the next day and he's not happy. He's like, nah, I'm not going on, man. I gotta study extra hard.
He wants to succeed, but he wants players to be happy.
$99, so it just comes in automatic like that. These are all $99. $4.99, $4.99, $4.99. So you can see when you click it, people buying $4.99 whale play. 340,869 in one day. That's a pretty damn good day. Right now, everything is going great in my life. But what people don't know, and I don't show this to anyone, is in the back of my fucking head, is my court date that's coming up.
The magnitude of losing your freedom for up to 30 or 40 years and having to go into a courtroom without knowing what's going to happen to you.
I can't sleep at night sometimes. I have a ton of anxiety. I'm really worried if I'm gonna have my freedom.
He has offers from the government and how to resolve it. Does he take those offers or does he roll the dice and go to trial?
He's not as crazy as he used to be. Now I think there's a more business mind behind a lot of the things that he does versus back then it was just party, let's have fun, let's show off, and let's just get crazy.
He's doing great. He's buying great collectibles. I think they will appreciate.
I started with baseball cards, and now that the casinos banned me, I'm still in the baseball card industry, and I took a big 20-year gap between it all.
Especially Birkins. They're so freaking hard to get.
In 2019, a diamond-encrusted crocodile Hermes Birkin bag sold for $500,000.
He said he's making a new trend. He don't care what you mean. He walks around standing tall with his purse. He doesn't care.
Dave Oancea has joined the most exclusive purse club in the world, with members like Melania Trump, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Miranda Kerr, Jennifer Lopez, and Floyd Mayweather.
I take a lot of ridicule online because they're like, oh, he's carrying a purse. I'm like, dude, this purse is worth more than your house.
He needs a big purse to carry all that money. You can't walk around with a little wallet.
When they banned me from betting sports, I parlayed my vision of futures into other avenues and just diversifying.
I got love for my dollar, put my money first. That mean I'ma be rich before I hit the dirt. Play me in the club, watch them go berserk. By any means, you know I gotta get that work. Work, work, 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 gotta get.
People say I sell a lifestyle. I like to say I brand a lifestyle. It's always branding before sales in my book.
He had already accidentally built multiple brands for himself before he tried to build a brand of himself.
It clicked because I remember reading something that social media was the future, so everything was content for me. Before I even knew what the word content was, taking videos, pictures. So I was smart. Go to the club, they bring the big bottles, and I take videos and post it. Where other people would just get the bottles that brought. I wanted the presentations, girls coming out in bikinis and holding Vegas Dave signs. I started posting that shit. That was my branding, and I didn't even know what I was really doing. It just came natural to me.
That life, the girls, the bottles, the money.
He's a marketing genius, just like Nike.
He creates that persona to people that they want to be him.
I call him Nike guy.
And an everyday person can become him off of what he does and he sells.
Content is king. I mean, it's so true. He knows how to do it.
Who doesn't want to be partying, spending $40,000, $50,000 a night on champagne with all the hottest girls, creating his own bikini contest at a club. Truly is the king of content.
Once again, let me say thank you to Vegas Dave for putting up $70,000 so we can have the greatest bikini competition in the history of Las Vegas.
Well, it's probably a lot more fun to watch someone tooling around in a Lambo, you know, having this lifestyle that you and I both wish that we had, I guess.
Now, who are you gonna bet with? The guy with the bitches, the bottles, and the Ferraris? Or the dude with the fishing pole and the overalls and the Crocs? You tell me.
They eat that shit up. You know, they're like, damn, this guy's really living the life. What do I have to do to live that life? Swipe up, you gotta fucking play my bets, you know? So all that shit is, you know, it's content, it's media, it's marketing, it's advertising.
The more you keep winning and the more people keep playing, you get more people. They tell a friend, another person tells a friend.
So I sold a lifestyle. You want girls? You want financial freedom? You want villas? Swipe the fuck up. Swipe up, click the link in the bio. That's just an entryway for them to be introduced to me. Once they click that link and they win, they're like, wow, this motherfucker's good. How the fuck do I do it? I mean, how do I do it? Every sport. Baseball daily wins. Whale package hits, daily card hits, second half hits. So all I do is print money for you guys. Read an email, push a button. Simple as that. How do I come up with these fucking teams? No one else takes teams like that. We kill it in every fucking package, every sport. How the fuck do I pop bottles on no sleep and still win every fucking day? Oh my God, how the fuck do I do it? How the fuck do I do it? Every package cashes. How the fuck do I do it? Every package hits. Hell to the king of sports betting.
I don't do a lot of social media. I don't have Twitter or Facebook. People are always telling me you have followers and all this stuff.
I'm not on social media, but have learned through the course of representation of Dave that he does have a significant social media presence.
I think he toned it down, at least when we needed it toned down, and only lately have I been shown a few things that I said, really? Oh my God. That's Dave.
The day people stop talking about Vegas Dave every day means I'm no longer at the top of the food chain. That's why I love when people talk about me. I love people that hate me. I love people that love me. I love people that hate me. At least I have a fucking name.
And when people are hating on him, he's like, oh, I'll show you.
You can hate me, but at least you know my name's fucking Vegas Dave.
The haters. You know, he feeds on them. It's his daily Wheaties.
The best form of marketing. Free publicity. Vegas Dave, don't buy his picks, he's a scam. People look me up.
I'm sure he looks at all his haters and goes, all right, we got work to do. Awesome.
What's going on, guys? Everybody knows I'm the luckiest guy in the world. 100% of what I say happens every single time. And I'm here with a brand new package. Swipe the fuck up, click the link. For only $20,000, I'm gonna give you everything. It's a full package. I just survived a plane crash, okay? How do I do it? How do I survive plane crashes? Everyone else dead, me alive. How do I do it? How come I'm the fucking best? That's how I do it. You're gonna learn everything in this package. I'm gonna give you my whale plays, I'm gonna give you my teasers, I'm gonna give you my parlays, I'm gonna give you my straight raiders, my round robins, my reverses, my if bets. I'm gonna give you everything. Futures on Australian cricket, futures on Nate's hot dog eating contest, everything. I'm gonna show you how to survive plane crashes, and make sure you swipe the fuck up. Click that link, because we're gonna make you so much money you can swim in it like Scrooge McDuck. What? Holy shit! That's a helicopter. I didn't even call that guy. I'm being rescued by a helicopter. I didn't even call him. How do I do it? I'm getting rescued right now, and I didn't even call him. How did he find me? How do I do it? So make sure you swipe the fuck up, click that link, and you'll be asking yourself, just like me, how do I do it? How the fuck do I do it?
And again, I don't need the money. They need me. I don't need them. $99, $4.99, that doesn't make or break me. But if I can turn people's $99 into $1,000, or people paying $4.99 for my big whale plays and they're betting $5,000 they're winning, I'm changing lives. And I know that.
I'm very, very big on Instagram. I go down the search bar a lot and I just put haters in Vegas and I seen Vegas Dave and all these comments on his post. So I went on his page and commented saying, bro, you're a fucking badass. I love all the people that hate on you because I got a lot of haters. And I was like, hey, let me get a tattoo of you.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Oh, dude, more than sure. This is all about content.
Why me though? Just you like the content that much?
No, your lifestyle. Your lifestyle is where I'm gonna be in the next 10, 20 years. Dr. Evil has mini-me. I want to be Vegas Dave's mini-me.
Breathtaking. I shall call him Mini-Me.
Vegas Dave came in and saw me, and it was probably the best thing I've ever done so far. A lot of clout, and that's all it's about.
It's part of the game. Whoever has the most haters wins. I want 10 million haters.
It's about fucking content.
I think the picture of Dave taking a picture of him getting this tattoo is worth $1 million in and of itself. This is, reality stranger than fiction. Well, he's loved and revered, and he's hated all at once.
The Vegas Dave brand is particularly controversial, sometimes lascivious. It's definitely an edgy outlier brand.
I mean, there's Vegas Dave, and there's the real me, Dave Oancea. Vegas Dave, hot girls, bottles, $500,000 cars, $500,000 bags. Get people to talk about them. Stirs the pot, $100,000 bottle. I don't want it, so we're gonna pour the rest of it out. It's like halfway full. Arrogant.
5,000, I got 26.
Loud. Obnoxious. You just poured out like $40,000, $50,000 worth of alcohol. When he walks in the room, there's a name attached to him. Love him or hate him, you know who that guy is.
If he really was all that he portrays to be, I probably wouldn't be helping as much as I do,
My mom was diagnosed with cancer a couple years ago.
Anytime someone tries to say, why are you friends with him? I'm like, well, I'm friends with Dave Oancea. I know Vegas Dave really well.
My mom was dying, and I knew that, but I did not have the means to maintain my career and what was happening if I'm not at work.
If you know who Dave Oancea is, you really like the guy.
And he slid over an envelope to me. And I was like, what is it? And I opened it, and it was a significant amount of money. And I was like, what is this for? He's like, I'm not gonna let you leave.
He was actually the person who enabled me to be with my mom for her first chemo treatment.
He gave me enough money to still pay my rent and my cars and get back on my feet. And I would never forget that. Sorry, I'm like making myself almost like want to cry.
Without even hesitating, booked my flight and sent me the money while we were on the phone.
Then there's Dave Oancea. I live with my mom and dad. By choice, not financial reasons. I live with my mother and father, for crying out loud. And people don't understand that because I love them so much. I still eat dinner at that dinner table 6 days a week with them. At fucking 4 p.m. at dinner, because they're so old, we eat dinner at 4 p.m.
Actually, we asked him when we bought the house, David, are you gonna live with us? No way. You buy what you need for you two. So we bought the house for 2 of us. Now 3 every day is getting too much.
So you need a little more space. And I hope that space will come soon.
But I don't post that on my social media because that's not great content. No one wants to see, hey, it's Vegas Dave with my mom and dad eating teriyaki chicken and rice. Thanks, Mom. No one wants to see that shit.
And so there's like that huge dichotomy.
I think people think that Vegas Dave is Vegas Dave, and he's the guy that goes out and parties, he's the guy that's always with women. Dave Oancea, on the other hand, is oddly simple.
This really, really good human being with amazing parents and household, he takes care of them, he lives with them. That's not the persona of Vegas Dave.
And I think that's why he also takes care of his parents so much. He wants to make sure that they are on the ride with him.
I never appreciated having dinner with my parents every single day. They would be devastated if there's no one in that chair sitting there.
Good. Put your phone away.
Trout should have a good game today. He hits this pitcher well.
The pig. Where's the pig?
Royals. I'm gonna rest. Monday's my court date.
I know. It's very worrisome.
You still worry?
Oh, yeah.
You still pray?
Every night. He would never survive in jail.
He basically said that there's no way he was going to prison. He told me that if he was sent to jail, he would take his own life.
God, I know I'm gonna be okay because I dreamt this twice. But you're just testing me to see if I'm gonna quit. You're testing me to see how I'm gonna fight. You're testing me to see if I'm gonna fold. You're testing me. My attorneys call me, so are you ready? Or how do you feel? I'm like, I'm not even shook. Like, it's just another day. I've been working for 2 hours, getting plays ready. because I won't have time to get the plays out and study games because I'll be in court for 4 or 5 hours. All right, guys, good morning or good afternoon, 11:40 a.m. Monday. Another week, another opportunity to make money. Now I got 15 minutes to put a suit on, pray to God for my freedom, then off to the federal court building. Today's gonna include baseball. We are playing the NHL hockey playoff game, and we're playing the Warriors-Blazers game. So you're gonna get hockey, basketball, and baseball, not for $99 each, $99 for all of them. We are gonna kill it again today. Mark my words, I'm extremely confident. I'm out, have a great day, and let's make some more fucking money. This is hands down the biggest gamble of my life, and it still hasn't hit me yet. I'm not nervous. You know, even going against the feds right now, I'm extremely confident. I truly believe in my heart I walk out as a free man with 0 felonies and 0 prison time. Today is a very big day in my life. I've been waiting 3.5 years for this date, and it's the date I find out if I go to prison for 40 years and I don't get to breathe life outside a prison cell for the next 40 years, or if I'm gonna walk as a free man. It was always a dream for me to take care of my parents. My parents sacrificed their whole lives for me. And just in case I do not make it out today as a free man and I face the 40 years in prison, I'm writing them a card to let them know how much I love them, how much I appreciate them, and that they have a house that's paid in full, and that they have a dream house that they can retire in case I never make it out for the next 40 years. But the accomplishment of buying them a dream home and taking care of the people that sacrificed their lives for me is something that's very important to me. So I needed to make sure this is taken care of in case I don't come out. If they announce me guilty and they cuff me and walk me out, I don't want them to see that. I'm gonna have my attorneys call my parents right away if I don't walk out as a free man, and to let them know there's a card under my bedroom pillow for them to read.
But we keep praying and hoping that things will work out for him. Because you never know what can happen in front of a judge. Ever since he was little, he was always thanking us for the many things that we have done for him. Yeah, because I still have those little letters that he wrote. He always emphasized the love for us, even when we went through a lot with him throughout the years. And this was in 2008. He said, "Dad, I really had a great time with you and Mom. I love you very much. If you were not my father, I would either be in jail or dead. Thank you for giving me 100% chances. It really paid off. I love you and happy Father's Day." He says, "Love your son, David." He says, "Thank you for always being there for me, Dad." Not only are you my father, but also my best friend. He said, "Love always, your son, David." It was written in 1996.
When I walked in the federal courtroom, I can vividly remember it was the most uncomfortable time of my life. The room was extremely desolate. All rise. Everyone stands up. All I remember is Judge Dorsey saying, "David Nakama Oancea versus the United States federal government." And you realize, wow, this shit's fucking for real. She read off the 19 felonies I was being charged with, all 19. And she asked, "How do you plead?" I need to ask you again. The judge in front of me had the authority to either let me breathe free air again or to lock me up for 40 years. And then she said, well, I reviewed everything. I reviewed the documents, I reviewed both parties' information. My judgment is zero felonies, zero prison time. And then I was just relieved. I didn't hear the community service. I didn't hear about being banned from the sports books. I didn't hear anything else. I was just so thankful I could finally move on with my life, and then I wouldn't have to go to trial.
I thought the fact that the prosecution in this case didn't go to trial was emblematic of the lack of evidentiary support.
Everything else was just a blur. Then I walked out of the courtroom with a smile. The judge was very fair, so I'm very happy, like, just very pleased. I'm so sorry for what I put you through.
All these months, yeah, you're free.
You're free like a bird.
Ultimately, we were able to, through the legal writings that we did and the conversations that we had with the government, reach a resolution.
Some positives can come out of this case. It can show the inequality in the justice system, and the criminal justice system in particular.
Dave was insistent that he was not going to be convicted of a felony, and he said no disrespect intended, but either we get it where we finally got it, or we'll go to court.
And the other aspect is some form of better checks and balances to allow the government to be held accountable for when they file a claim and they destroy someone's life and they later decide to drop it.
There's a lot of innocent people in jail right now. There's people watching me right now that have family members, loved ones sitting behind prison bars. Innocent people in jail because they don't have money for attorneys.
There is a definite difference in the way justice is applied if you have the resources or you don't have the resources. That's just the nature of it.
People from all over the world messaged me and said, I have a cousin, my ex-boyfriend, my father-in-law, my cousin, my older brother. He's in jail right now. We feel you, we can relate to you. Today's a very special day.
Oh, I like the fun entrance.
I've been waiting for the perfect timing to give my parents their dream house. Today's our 45th year anniversary, which is a very special day for them. Hoping I can make it even more special by giving them this house. I'm just so thankful I can give them the card in person.
Oh. Hold this.
Yeah.
Oh, you see this? Yeah. You appreciate it. Dear Mom and Dad, happy anniversary. It always been my dream to buy you a dream house. You have both have sacrificed so much for me. I have been working extra hard this past year so I would make this all come true. Dad, don't worry.
I still worry.
The house is paid off until cash.
One thing I really respect about my parents' relationship is that no matter what, through good and bad times, they stuck through it. They never quit.
I love you both very much. Thank you for being the best parents in the world.
Oh my
like
God,
I said. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, David.
Yeah, let me.
What can you do in this house? Oh my goodness.
Oh, David, I love you. Not because of the house, but.
My life has pretty much exploded. I mean, I'm just thriving in all aspects of life, but one. People come up to me and say, man, you're living a dream. I want to be like you. And yet the person telling me this is holding hands with this high school sweetheart. They're married, they're 30 years old, they've been together since 16 with kids, and they're in love. And I'm like, man, you got it twisted. You have what I want. Will I find my partner in life? That's a 50-50 chance. So I'm gonna go on Instagram Live and Facebook Live. Good morning, everybody. Let me know if you're making some money with me, but let me know where you're from. Let me see where you're joining from. Washington State, Germany. Good morning, Dayton, Ohio. So let me just show you my views. Some of you guys are seeing me for the first time. I'm working hard right now. These are my office views from my villa in Mexico and Cabo.
Because eventually, I think he's planning to move to Cabo. So why not build a nice mansion, and then 10 years later, maybe 5 years later, just move there and live like a king, right? With his pink Birkins. Motherfucker.
So let me give you a message today, because today is Thursday. Most of you guys are getting a hard on. You're getting excited because why? Friday's coming. And for Friday, you got 2 days where you can kick back. Listen, guys, if you're living for the fucking weekends, you're not living life. Now, if you're happy with what you have, that's fine. I'm not talking to you. Who I'm reaching out to are the people that want a better life. I love Mondays. You know why? It's the beginning of the week to make more money and help more people around the world.
He kind of adopted his kids that work on the beach. They get there 5, 6 in the morning, they make their little toys, and they walk up and down the beach selling their toys. And Dave kind of started taking them in, buying them lunch, because they work hard and they always say thank you.
Just get chocolate ice cream for everybody. I have one too.
It's been several times where we've gone to Walmart and spent $5,000 on of kids' toys. And I helped him because I have a truck, and we went, bought it, and gave them out to the kids.
I've been coming to Cerritos for the last 3 or 4 years, and I realized that I love it here. It's a place of serenity and peace where I can clear my mind. I loved it so much, I ended up buying 4 oceanfront properties. I really don't take time to relax, but Cerritos is a place, the only place in the world where I can kind of sit still. And if people know me, I'm on the go, 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 go. I mean, I'm banned from sports betting, so this is a futures play. I'm buying land where there's animals trotting on the beach. It's like the Royals, no one gave it a shot. But what I'm saying is all the people watching me, hit me up in 20 years, and we'll see how we are at the finish line, you know? You wanna wake up at 5 in the morning? Do you wanna work till midnight? Do you wanna crunch numbers? Can you deal with people talking shit about you on the internet negatively every fucking day? Rumors every day? Success is hard. And for people to say, oh, it's all about the money, no motherfuckers, I got enough money. I could call it a day right now and retire. I love the process, waking up, getting my games, and trying to win 23 in a row. And if I lose, start all over and try to beat that record. It's the process for me, the dirt to the clouds.
He's a disruptor by nature. He's incredibly intelligent, and I think he's just tapping into his potential.
But now with his business, I think, he's thriving, so, there's less stress for us. So, because I think he will succeed in whatever he's doing right now.
He wants to inspire others to be as successful as him. You see a lot of the blogs and the things that he puts out on social media are like, these are the things you need to do, get up off of your ass.
So remember, you're responsible for your whole life. If you're watching this right now and you're not happy, your life is predicated on the choices you made. We all made shitty choices, but you have to learn from it. 3.5 years ago, I was broker than broke. I was $865,000 in debt. I owed my parents, my mother and father. I paid them back, and I'm proof that dreams can come true. Bet on yourself. If you believe in your heart, in your soul, in your mind, that you are meant to be better than where you are now, bet on yourself. Who wants to come on this journey with me? Let's fucking go.
You can't do it like me. Do it like me. I am the truth, I'm absolute. Don't talk about what I might be. I talk about what I'm about to do and what I did and what I've done. Look at what I've become. I'm number one. You can't do it like me. Do it like me. I am the truth, I'm absolute. Don't talk about what I might be. I talk about what I'm about to do and what I did and what I've done. Look at what I've become. I'm number one. If it was easy being the best, then everybody would do it. But look how I'm moving, maneuvering. You couldn't stop me, I'm starting a movement. Bringing that flavor and newness. This is the path that I'm choosing. Straight to the top and I'm making it pop. If it's mine, then you know I won't lose it. I am a better man. You just an amateur, you not a veteran. Don't know why they let him in. I'm fueling the fire like I'm an accelerant. I'm like a level 10, leveling up cause I never do that again. You can try that again. Hiding in places I know you ain't never been. When they need that work, I'm the one they call. I'm putting out that work, ain't no work in me, dawg. Gotta know my worth, show I'm worth it all. Every dime spent, it's my time, I'm intense. My intent represents on something that is so immense. I'm either all or nothing, I'm never up on the fence. In your defense, I'm convinced my actions will show you this. If you gotta know something, you should probably know this. You can't.
I believe that I can accomplish anything. Believe it or not, I think I could be president if I wanted to. If Trump could be president, I could be president. That's how fucking my mind works. Will I try to be a president? No, because they can't afford me, you know? I make way too much money.
I have a good story about Dave. He was putting gas in a Lamborghini that he used to own, maybe like 6-7 years ago. And a mom and a kid walks by and says, see, if you stay in college, you can drive a car like this. And Dave turns to the kid and tells him, I dropped out of college. And the mom was like, you're an asshole. And Dave was like, it's true.
When we were preparing for the sentencing hearing, and Dave came to the office so we could go over the process, and he had his Birkin with him, and I said, you can't bring that to court. We're in federal court for a sentencing. What is it, like superstition? And he said, no, it's the whale bag. And he looked at me so serious that he actually convinced me to back off of my position.
Got the black glistening, you think you do it like me?
Don't eat the Birkin. Oh, no, the leather! Fuck! Oh my God! The Birkin.
Truest essence, cause my presence is a message. Go and fight for a change. That's why they do not like you the same. Look, I'm like a hurricane. It's the word insane is said that I earn them things.
Then how do I do it? How the fuck do I do it? How?
I'ma tell you why.
What's going on, guys? You just finished the movie. How do I do it? How do I make the best documentary ever made? It's already won 10 Oscars. How do I do it? So I'm the fucking best. It's got 5 Grammys. I didn't even sing one thing. Not one song came out of my mouth, but I won 5 Grammys. I'm a fucking machine. Haven't slept in 22 days. How do I do it? How do I not sleep? Human needs to sleep, but I don't. Tom Hanks wants to play me in the biopic. How do I get Tom Hanks? Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. She thinks she can play Vegas fucking Dave. Or Steve McQueen. The ghost of Steve McQueen came to me. How do I contact the other side and get famous dead actors to want to portray? Because I'm the fucking best. I'm the hardest working fucking man in the business. So make sure you swipe the fuck up, click that link, and watch this movie again.
Don't talk about what I might be. I talk about what I'm about to do and what I did and what I've done. Look at what I've become. I'm number one. If it was easy being the best, then everybody would do it. But look how I'm moving, maneuvering. You couldn't stop me. I'm starting a movement, bringing that flavor and newness. This is the path that I'm choosing. Straight to the top, and I'm making it pop. If it's mine, then you know I won't lose it. I am a better man. You just an amateur. You not a veteran. Don't know why they let him in. I'm fueling the fire like I'm an accelerant. I'm like a level 10, leveling up 'cause I never do that again. You can try that again. Hiding in places I know you ain't never been. When they need that work, I'm the one they call. I'm putting out that work, ain't no work in me, dawg. Gotta know my worth, show I'm worth it all. Every dime spent, it's my time, I'm intense. My intent represents on something that is so immense. I'm either all or nothing, I'm never up on the fence. In your defense, I'm convinced my actions will show you this. If you gotta know something, you should probably know this. You can't do it like me, do it like me. I am the truth, I'm absolute, don't talk about what I might be. I talk about what I'm about to do and what I did and what I've done. Look at what I've become, I'm number one. You can't do it like me, do it like me. I am the truth, I'm absolute, don't talk about what I might be. I talk about what I'm about to do and what I did and what I've done. Look at what I've become, I'm number one. Time and time again, I gotta tell them where I'm coming from. Ripping out their dreams from the seams till they come undone. Never met an obstacle or foe that wasn't cumbersome. Like a light shining bright, I'm hotter than the summer sun. See, I'm hot sizzling, got the block glistening. You think you do it like me? You are not listening. You hear what you wanna hear. I'm on the front, you on the rear. Last, 'cause you in the past form a year. I'm everything that's right in the game. Level up in all life and obtain the truest essence, 'cause my presence is a message. Go and fight for a change. That's why they do not like you the same. Look, I'm like a hurricane that's spread with the word insane. It's said